Tonight on Behind the Details with Chelsea, we sit down with special guest Yvan Lacroix. Every time that I have a conversation with Yvan, I walk away either being challenged, sometimes a little confused, but ultimately educated. And so tonight, whether you're like me, where maybe you want to be challenged, maybe you want to kind of get some questions answered, or maybe you want to learn something, this is going to be a fun episode because tonight, Yvan is going to address it all. Well, maybe not everything, but if you have questions, ask, because tonight, he's given the answers. Let's go ahead and get started with the show. I am joined by my good friend, Yvan Lacroix. Once we take away his angry face, you gave me two options for thumbnails.
Yeah,
that was the best one. I wasn't trying to be super clickbait, but if you're here, maybe it worked. But we're definitely going to be having a fun conversation with you. Anytime I have a conversation with you, I feel like sometimes you push me out of my comfort zone. Sometimes I'm like, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one, Yvan. But you've never steered me wrong in a way. So I'm excited to have a fun conversation with you guys. So welcome, everyone. Hopefully you are having a fantastic week. I don't know about you, Yvan. I'm noticing a trend with detailing lately. It's getting slower. I mean, you guys travel a lot. You do a lot of trainings, but with detailing and things like that, is it slow for you? Are you staying pretty steady? I mean, you're Yvan Lacroix.
Yeah, no, I'm still doing my 16 hours a day. But that being
On
said,
your phone or detailing?
a bit of both. But the industry is, we're heading, whether we want to or not, there's a possibility of a recession. Whenever that happens, that is when smaller businesses can either flourish or disappear. And the last, the 2008 economic downturn, recession, whatever you want to call it, in our shops, the shops that were like in our franchise structure, the shops that were bigger, the shops that were charging more are the ones that stayed. The ones that were the small, I'm just going to do mobile work and things like that and not charge too much, they're the ones that disappeared. Because the people that have money through a recession still have money.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And I mean, detailing is a luxury service,
Yeah.
But it gets to this point, and I feel like every August, when people come back from vacation, school starts, it kind of
Yeah.
slows down a little bit for
Right.
me. And this is where I start to gaslight myself and say, is there something, am I doing something wrong? Do I need to lower my prices?
No.
So you saying that gives me the encouragement I need. Hold the line. Like for those of you that are watching, hold the line and maybe raise your prices.
Yeah, not maybe raise your prices.
So we were talking about this off stage. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm $325 for a full detail to start for sedan. Right? It goes up where it's like $400 for a larger SUV. And I know that there's markets, there's, different things you got to take into consideration. Like what do you recommend for a roundabout price for starting for full details inside and out?
First of all, full detail for me doesn't exist. You're either getting inside or an outside, or you can combine both of them. But there's no such thing as in our shops, there's no such thing as a full detail.
Okay.
The reason for that, you have some people that come to you for a detail. They haven't washed the outside of the car in a year and they really don't care about it. And the inside is looking pretty good and they just want the inside to be better. You have other people that the inside of the car they could care less about, but on the outside of the car, that is the most important thing in the world. You can satisfy both. When you're doing, especially there are some shops or some people that only do full details. When you're only doing full details, you're excluding part of your market. The person that says, I don't care about the inside, just do the outside, or the person that says, I don't care about the outside, just do the inside, same deal. The other thing is, as well as I do, that an outside, whether the car hasn't been washed in a year or whether it goes to the car wash every week or they just hand washed it before bringing it to you, there might be a 15 to 20-minute variance between a clean car and a dirty car.
Some of them are a little bit more, but average.
On average. On the inside of the car, between a clean car and a dirty car, there's a little more than 15 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
there might be an hour. So
Unless you have a blowout tool.
yeah, no, the to me, compressed air. Uh, a person should buy a compressor before they buy a pressure washer. It to me, it's that important. But that being said, an interior for us in our shops started at 250, and this was in 2018. So we started at 250 and went up from there, and it was by estimate only. So there was no, this is a package. Now, we always did clean the outside of the car, unbeknownst to the owner of the car. It was just part of it for us because we didn't want to get our vacuum hose dirty. We didn't want to accidentally rub up against the car and then, oh, well, we can see you rubbed up against here. No, we quickly washed the outside and just a quick rinseless wash. Nothing, no
Rinse.
decontamination, no wax, nothing like that. Just a quick rinseless wash and then pull it into the cleaning bay. That would allow us to do the door jams with the pressure washer, all that fun stuff at the same time. So you're laughing?
Everyone is coming for me because of no, and I mean, Sam is right. I am trying to keep it together because
Yeah.
for me, and this is why every time I have a conversation with you, I'm like, it challenges me. Sometimes I
Yeah.
don't agree,
Yeah.
but when I have tried the things that you recommend, they do work. Like they're not broken. You've tried
No.
and tested them over the years. I
Yeah.
get what you're saying, and I think I've always justified it that when I'm a female in a very male dominated industry, that it is hard to have the highest prices when they're like, but he has, a different body part. He knows more about cars. Trying
Yeah.
to
No.
keep it clean here.
So,
Or in a very
back up.
saturated market, I
Yeah.
feel like I don't want to be the most expensive, but I'm definitely not going to be the cheapest.
Yeah. So the little extra body part thing and all that, uh, that is a common misconception amongst women more than amongst men. One thing you can tell yourself and you can tell your customers, if there's ever a question, if someone ever brings that up, would you hire a maid or would you hire a gardener to clean the inside of your car or your house? You'd hire a maid, right? Is there a word for a male maid? See, you're still searching for it. That's because women know cleaning better than men.
We would just call them maid. I don't know if there's a gender specific term. It's
Mhm.
just the word for it.
Exactly. So there's no gender specific term for detailer either, because all we're doing is cleaning. That's it. It doesn't require special body parts to clean a car.
You guys are commenting so quickly, but by the time I like try to click on it, there's like another one. But Eddie did have it correctly. I think it's a butler, but they don't really
No,
clean. They
no,
serve.
butler. Yeah, a butler is a servant. It's not a.
Yes.
Yeah, a
They're not
butler.
scrubbing floors. They're handing
No,
you
no,
your
no, no, no,
beverages and your napkins and they're clearing the
no.
table.
The butler actually runs the household and is the one that hires the maids and makes sure they do their work. So
Yeah.
you're close, Eddie. But yeah, that being said, Sylvie one point had a customer come in, say, can I speak to your boss? She went into her office, which was behind the counter, came back out.
Hi.
Yeah.
I love that, Sylvie. You're
Yeah,
so freaking
and
awesome.
one person,
You just see
uh
her walking in a circle.
yeah, and one person really got under her skin, and you know, she said, "Look, if you want someone with balls, I've got much bigger balls up here than you'll ever have down there."
Sylvie, it is going to be my life's mission to have you on the show and to interview you because you are just awesome. uh, so, I mean, when it comes to a recession, what are some things that you, other than raising prices, that you would advise detailers to do before things get bad? Like, what are the essentials they need to focus on?
Marketing, 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 and marketing.
And how?
Uh,
Through social media, through ads, through websites, all of the above?
Life has changed since 2008.
Mhm.
Uh, to me, the your best form of marketing right now is SEO, Google. Facebook will bring you a lower value clientele than Google will. So the person wanting the uh, $325 do everything package versus the person that just wants the $2,000 ceramic on the outside of their car.
Okay. Well, I know that was kind of off topic. We came in hitting hard, asking
Yeah.
like some big questions. But tonight, I wanted to discuss some of the new products that
Yep.
you are releasing, have released. Maybe address some of the controversial techniques and approaches that you have to detailing that kind of get under people's skin. I know you sent me like a list, literally, guys, a
Yeah.
list of things, and I was like, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. And I mean, this is not me like being a a puppet, being like, oh, we're
No,
just
no.
gonna do everything. But that's what I love about you, Ivan, is that you make suggestions. If people disagree, you're like, okay, do what works for you because it's a way. It is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the way.
There's no right way to detail. There never has been. There never will be. There's a lot of really good ways, and I'm just putting forth options.
Mike keeps bringing this up though. What is this green liquid that I'm hearing of? Is
In
this
one of our
something?
no, in one of our lives, Sylvie put behind Nick and I a bottle of green liquid that we were testing that will eventually become a product. Uh, and since then, Mike and a few others have been asking, what was that green liquid? Because it was like in the background, way back there somewhere.
They're very
And
observant.
yeah, the eagle eye, they're detailers. They look at the details. Well, what's that green liquid? So yeah, the green liquid is coming soon. And
Will
I'll
it
give it
smell like watermelon? Mm.
no.
Oh, okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I know.
You're like,
Uh,
we can't be Griot's 3-in-1 ceramic wax. We can't.
no,
Everyone can't
no.
copy that.
No. But one thing I can give as an additional hint, as a first here, is that it's replacing a product.
Mm,
So we're not
okay.
going. There's one product in our line that we're not going to a type 2. We're literally replacing the product
Eddie is saying
because
it
it is so
slaps.
different. Yeah, Eddie's tried it. So Eddie's one of our testers, but it is a product that, and now Eddie, you're going to get hounded by a bunch of people. Sorry. Uh,
I'm gonna message you on the down low after the show, Eddie.
yeah. Yeah. But anyways, it's replacing an existing product because the formulation was so different that we couldn't just call it a type 2.
Okay. Put your
Yep.
guesses in the comment section. Maybe we'll come back to this video once it's released, and whoever gets the right answer, we
Oh,
should
yeah.
send them a bottle of it.
There. Yeah. So put in the comments, put down what it's replacing.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't think you're gonna replace ceramic glass because it's too good, or quick beads.
Mhm.
Hmm. And you wouldn't do a green water spot remover. That wouldn't make sense. Most of those are clear. Although you just
Just so you know, I'm going to
reacted.
agree
You
to
just
everything you say.
reacted. So my your body language. I'm gonna get wink if it's the water spot remover. Just kidding.
Oh, I no. By the way, I'm going through a very strong bout of allergy, so if you see me rubbing my eyes and tearing
Mm-hmm.
up, it's
Mm-hmm.
not because the subject. Yeah.
Excuses, Ivan.
Yeah,
It's totally a green water spot remover. Just kidding. That's actually a good one. Replacing
time will
all
tell.
clean. I like that one, David. That's a good one right there. Anyways, waterless wash, but your waterless wash is pretty good too, though. I wouldn't. The smell is pulling on, nice lubrication. My bet's on all clean. Okay, I'm gonna agree with you, David. But if he does all clean, you win. I
Yeah.
concur. Anyways, okay. So tell me about some of these new products that you have coming out.
Well, coming out, we have, or that have come out, because I'm not telling you about the green liquid. Anyways, because that is the next one to come out. But we have Incredible Suds Type 2 that just came out,
Mhm.
and when we originally did the formulations back in 2020 or 2020 actually, started working on it, we did a focus group, and the focus group said we want a really thick soap. So we came out with a really thick soap. And as soon as we release it, we love it, except it's too thick. So it's like, make up your minds, people. So that being said, we made it thinner. It is not as thin as water. It still has some body to it because
Mhm.
we couldn't thin it. We didn't just add water to Incredible Suds. We went back to the drawing board. We replaced one surfactant. We added a new surfactant, and of course the mix changes and all of that. We are able to, or our criteria that we wanted in developing the Type 2, excuse me, was first of all as good as, if not better, foam, as good as lubricity, and we got better there, better cleaning ability. Now, all clean, or sorry, not all clean, but you got
Sorry,
me
it's
off
just
with
on
that.
the green solution is on your
Yeah.
You can't
Anyways,
judge it.
yeah, incredible subliminal. Yeah, uh, in, incredible suds was, type 1 is a really good cleaner, and I've never been one to like the idea of you need to use this foam as a pre-foam, this foam is your bucket foam, and this foam is your snow foam. To me, when you're foaming something or when you're using a cleaner, it should do what it needs to do, all of it.
Mhm.
And that was one of the criteria. I wanted better cleaning, but without increasing the pH. So the pH is in the neutral range. We'll say that in case someone is watching.
We know
Yeah.
who you're talking about. I
Yeah.
was just gonna say the name, and I'm like,
No. Yeah. Anyways,
range,
so
not
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So the pH neutral range goes from 6 to 8.9. We're at
Okay.
8.5, same as the original Incredible Suds.
Does that change based on your dilution? So, like a higher dilution, like it's gonna be
Di-
obviously closer
Dilution
to.
really that dilution doesn't change pH level that much.
I know it very
Yeah.
minimally, but is that where
Yeah.
you're seeing that variance, or how do
Right.
you go from 6 to 8?
No, but the pH neutral range is from 6. Like if someone is
Okay,
talking
got
absolute
it.
pH neutral is 7, the range is from 6 to
And that's
8.9.
where some people get like really hung on. You've
Yeah.
moved like to 7.1. It's no longer pH
No.
neutral.
Right. So it's like the person that drives 64 miles an hour on the highway instead of 65 or 66. Are they speeding? Uh,
Not in
there's a
this area.
no, I know there's a range there. But that being said, we want to increase the cleaning ability so that people that feel that they need a higher alkaline or a higher active foam to do the pre-cleaning won't need it. Once they try it, they go, oh, this actually cleans all I need. I don't need to do that extra step, or I don't need to have a second or third product.
Okay.
The concentration, we finally got the label right this time. So now it's 1 ounce or 30 milliliters to your quart or liter of water in your foam cannon, and half an ounce to your 4 gallons in your bucket.
So that's
So
like a lid.
yeah, 1,000 to 1 dilution in your bucket is more than what you need.
That's awesome. By
Yeah.
the way, shout out to Adamo's Garage. Happy birthday. Everyone is like
Oh,
saying it in the comment
ha-
section. I
happy
can't
birthday.
be the only person to ignore it. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
So beyond I actually you sent me a few weeks ago. I haven't gotten around to play with it, the new brush. And I know that's
Yeah.
been stirring things up because we've been taught as detailers, brushes are the devil.
Yes.
We preach it to our
100%.
customers. Like if you go
Yeah.
to the car wash and you see that thing sitting on the floor, avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
What makes your brush safe now all of a sudden for paint?
There has been paint safe brushes for decades. It's just people ignore them, use them wrong, or just they get this idea that it's a broom going across the paint and that's it. They don't think of it. There are variances in everything. You can buy a hamburger at McDonald's or you can buy a steak at Ruth Chris. They're both beef. They taste very different. What
Are
they
we
do to your
sure the
body.
McDonald's one? I'm gonna. I don't know if that's fully beef, but anyways, yeah.
Well, no, on the package it says 100% pure beef. The beef that they put in it is 100% pure, but we don't know what else is in there.
Yeah.
That being said, the brush, the reason it's safe is we went over and above to engineer it to make it safe. And yes, if you go to Walmart and they sell car washing brushes there, yeah, I wouldn't put that on my paint. The one at the put your coins in and wash your car, that the guy that just came off the field and did his truck with it,
Yeah.
probably not. The one at the front end of the car wash where they're scraping the bugs off your car and it might go back into a bucket and then scrape the next car, same thing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't use that one.
Yeah.
But first of all, we're dealing with detailers and enthusiasts that like their cars, that don't abuse their vehicles, that want them
Mhm.
clean,
Mhm.
that use proper wash techniques. And one of the proper wash techniques is to spray a foam on or a rinseless first. And if you have grit on the vehicle, rinse it off.
Okay.
Then
So
foam rinse foam or chemical rinse chemical, whatever.
pre-wash
But
is important with it.
pre-wash is important with any wash media, not
Mhm.
just a brush. And a lot of people, they'll use a microfiber chenille mitt to me, that's more dangerous than most brushes on the market because microfiber holds onto dirt, does a really good job of holding onto it, and those chenille mitts are, those little nubs are actually quite stiff, quite hard. You have no room for absorption of the grit. It's just sitting on the surface and you're moving across the surface. Especially if you're using soap, you don't see that you might have grit on the surface. With a rinseless, you can see it a little bit. But that being said, we engineered the brush to be as non-enthusiast proof as possible, meaning that if someone just foams their car and starts brushing, their whatever wash media they're using, they are going to be causing damage. With this, they're going to be causing less damage than with other wash media like a mitt because of the flagging. So if you look at our green wheel and body brush, which you've used for years,
Mm-hmm.
the flagging on that is 1/2 inch. The flagging on the Perfectly Safe brush is 3/4 of an inch. You can put a lot of weight on that brush and you'll never reach the actual bristle. You'll always stay within that flagged part of the bristle because of that thick bristle. Also, the bristles are very dense. One question we've had that some people is like, why didn't you put rubber around the edge? Or why don't you have a rubber handle? The reason we don't have rubber is the same reason we actually don't have rubber on the batteries of our cord-free tools. If you were to put that
Oh,
tool
dirt.
down, yeah, dirt sticks into it. And then
Mhm.
as you're going along the car, the dirt happily goes, oh, this is where I'm getting off the ride. Drops on the car. Uh, so that's why we prefer that hard surface. Now, the exterior of the brush is actually a very soft plastic. So remember back 10, 15 years ago, it was popular for coating companies to take a Bic lighter and hit the car
Mm-hmm.
with it and make all these streaks. And where the coating is, it's
And they
not
would
making
buff it
streaks.
off because it was like paint transfer. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just plastic transfer
Yeah.
because those Bic lighters are very soft plastic.
Yeah.
The plastic on our brush is actually softer than that. So yes, you might get a mark. It's just going to wipe right off.
Have you ever considered wrapping the brushes around the sides?
Yes, that was. We had one brush that one of our prototypes was 360 degrees. There was other than where the handle was, it was brush. We did the wrap sides, the whole thing. The wrap sides seem like they might do a better job, but in reality, you can't get into areas that you can with the straight brush because the straight bristle brush, you have your door handle, right? The straight bristles can get in and sort of squeeze in. Whereas if you have that rounded edge, it's not going to make it in there because the bristles never end up being a point. Some of
Got
them
it.
do, but those brushes are not really good. And that curve that is caused by those bristles going around, the bristles can't be as dense in that area.
Okay.
So you have the chance of getting to the side of the bristle as opposed to the flagged portion of the bristle.
Now, how do you maintain the brush and what's the lifespan of it? Like, how many washes do you anticipate getting with it? Because they're probably going to lose some of their buoyancy or plushness over time.
Yeah. Uh, in our testing, 300 to 500 washes.
Okay. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and the maintenance, don't put the brush head on the ground. If you
Yeah.
do, yeah, well, yeah,
You have to say it,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, there are instructions on the preparation H to not eat it. So that being said, with that, don't put it on the ground. If you do accidentally, it touches the ground, whatever, just put it back in your wash bucket for a minute, swish it around. It releases the dirt very well. It doesn't like holding on to dirt. And basically, once it's flooded, now the dirt, especially with a quality soap or rinseless, it's the dirt literally wants to go away from the brush because the ionic structure of how everything works. But basically, put it back in your wash bucket, it's going to come out clean. And when you're done, have a nice hook on the wall, hang it up on the hook. And I don't know if you've used the brush yet, but it takes a little while to dry.
Okay. I've used it
Like,
on my husband's white work truck. So
yeah,
the plan is his
yeah,
black Chevy pickup truck.
right.
Like, I'm nervous. I'm not going to
Yes,
say I'm not. But I think what I'm going to do is actually, you gave the idea of just his like truck bed or the tailgate.
yeah,
Because if it buggers it up, I can just polish and recoat. And honestly, I've had the McKee's 37, the graphene pro coating on there for over 2.5 years, and it looks
yeah,
fantastic. But the paint doesn't look fantastic because it's black Chevy paint. And I have kids and he uses it like a truck. I think I
Yeah.
did a Maxwell one video. I was telling you, and like people were judging me in the video, like, "Oh my gosh, look at the scratches on that paint." And I'm like, "It's black Chevy paint that hasn't
Yeah.
been polished for 2.5 years. What do you think is going to happen?" But
Yeah.
anyways, it's probably time for me to polish and recoat it anyway. So if it doesn't work, it won't. But I think what I'm going to do, half of it, wash it with your Incredible Suds and your new wash mitt, the other
Yeah.
half with the brush to see, does one do less damage over the other or no more damage than the other?
No.
So if
Yeah.
you guys
No.
want to see that,
Yeah.
stay
You'll
tuned.
be you'll
We'll
be
be doing
safe.
that on my channel. But I get
Yeah.
a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. There is a part of me that it goes against everything that I have like been taught as a detailer. And I'm like,
Right.
okay.
Yeah. Just because something is become a habit over the years or the accepted norm doesn't mean it's correct. You know, doctors used to tell patients to smoke. We now know that it's not a good thing. But in the 50s, it's like, oh, you're having a nervous breakdown, start smoking. So that literally was one of the things. But my parents used to work for Imperial Tobacco, so a lot of these stories.
Business was
Uh,
good in the 70s.
yeah, but not yeah. There are a lot of things that we do as detailers just because we've been told that this is how it's always been done and this is the way it needs to be done. Not because it's been tested, not because it's been tried. It's just this is the way it's been done for X amount of years. And I've never been one to be happy with the status quo. I've always been one to try to find what's better. Research and development is part of my DNA. It's part of what I do. So it's, can we make this safer? Can we make it easier? Can we make it more efficient? Can we make it more profitable? Can we make it more fun? And those are all the things that I'm always trying to do when we're developing products, when we're developing tools as well. So having all these, you know, I've got a lot of plates spinning and, you know, trying different things because an example, the quad fold decontamination towel.
Mm-hmm. You upgraded that.
Yeah, that's an idea that I had like 5 years ago to do that.
What made you do the quadrant? Because that means technically you have less surface area to decontaminate.
You
Like
have
why did you want to get that fold?
you actually have more surface area. Let me explain it to you. So
Okay.
if you take the towel and lay it flat, and shout out to Rick from Rad Garage. I saw him do this in a video once, and I wanted to jump through the screen to save his paint, but because he just had the towel flat and was going at it, you
Yeah.
know, without folding the towel.
Mm-hmm.
The only spot that's actually working is where your hand is.
Okay. Because
Okay.
of that pressure.
Yeah, we say not to
Friction.
put any pressure on the towel, but you're just the weight of your hand is more than
Yeah.
enough. And if you have a single surface product like that, you're losing a lot of efficiency. The reason you're losing efficiency is you've done a panel, you need to go redunk that if you've only used that surface. With the quad fold towel, what we've done is we've made it intuitive that you want to fold the towel. It almost folds itself.
Mm-hmm.
It wants to be folded. You can see by looking at it, oh, I have to fold this. So we're not going to get the Rick mistake of this is the first time he's using a towel and he just lays it flat on the paint and goes for it. This is also giving you 4 surfaces to use before you go back to your wash bucket. So saving you time. If you're using one of those single pads or scrubbers or brushes, or not brushes, but sponges that have the material on it, after every panel, you have to go back to your bucket. Whereas this, you can, do 4 panels before going back to the bucket. So that's it. And now you've got that extra thickness for that cushioning, et cetera, et cetera. And, you've got relatively large hands. I have relatively large hands. It's just a nice size for my hand.
It is fit perfect. And I
Yeah.
mean, I know that a lot of people, detailers, do not use a clay towel or clay bar without polishing. They just are
Right.
like, you can't do it. And I mean, I do it on cars all the time, walk away.
Yeah.
I've done it on brand new vehicles that I don't even
Yep.
polish. And I'm like, it's fine. It's all about technique. It's about proper prep for washing, a
Yeah.
proper contact wash. You're not taking it, like with a dirty
No.
panel and rubbing it. Yeah, definitely you're going to mar the crap out of the
Yeah.
paint. But if you use the techniques that you teach
Yeah.
and use very little pressure, it
And the
works
right product.
fantastic.
Yeah. The
Mhm,
right lubrication. So,
mhm.
but anyways, that towel is something that 5 years ago I had the idea to make it into quadrants like that. approached the manufacturer that I've been working with for a long time that has made clay towels for me for a while, and said, this is, I want to do this. And they said, we can't do it. Our machine won't accept that, et cetera, et cetera. 6 months ago, Nick sends me an email from a DIY consumer, saying, it would be really neat if you could do this to eliminate the stuff in the folds. So that re-sparked it in my head. And I reached out to the manufacturer, said, send me a short video of how the machine works. So I redesigned the machine for them so that they can make the quad fold towel.
You engineered the machine. Jeez.
I re-engineered the machine for them. That way, now we have the quad fold towel. That being said, I'm sure someone will copy it eventually, and that's fine. It's part of what this industry is.
I was going to say, when, who was the first person to come up with a clay towel? I believe wasn't it you?
The perforated towel, yes.
Yeah.
The flat clay towels, they've been around for a while. Nanoskin was the first one to popularize the flat towels.
The green one, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was really aggressive, but really good.
Yeah, no, you had to clay the car afterwards, or you had to polish the car afterwards.
Yeah, for sure.
Trust me, it wasn't an option.
Get paint transfer off of a vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. But it worked, and it was faster and easier than a clay bar.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's when I saw that. We used them in our shops. They were great, but again, you had to polish after every time you used it. Whereas some clay bars you could get away without polishing as well. If you're using the extra fine grade clay towel and proper lubrication, you could get away without polishing. So it was mixing those two together, and that's when I came up with the perforations. Reached out to the manufacturers, said, "Can you do this?" They said, "Oh yeah, that should be easy enough. We can do that." So that's when the perforated towels first came to be. But again, it's questioning the status quo. Just because something doesn't exist doesn't mean it can't exist.
Yeah. So Flint has a question. Can you talk more about the industry? Flint, clarify, because that's a very broad question. But I think I want to kind of keep pressing on the whole, for example, when you said you developed the clay towel and then other manufacturers come up with one, how does that work within the detailing industry when one manufacturer... I can see you. You have a really good face right now. It looks like you're very astute. He's in a bus, guys, in Toronto, so we have to be patient. I see Sylvia's texting. So we're going to wait to see. Can you hear me, Yvan? We've got some French going on in the background. Can you hear me, Yvan? I just heard myself. Here. So the question that I'm going to pose for Yvan when he comes back is, when we have different manufacturers coming up with the same products, where's kind of the gray line on that? All right. Well, we're going to see if he comes back in, guys. But when it comes to some of the products that Yvan has come up with, I know that they've come up with some new ceramic coatings. I don't know if you guys have seen the 35 ceramic coating test that I did on my channel, but I wish I could show it to you guys. But we had the 3-year, the 5-year, the 8-year, and the stack on there. So when Yvan comes back, I think he's back. He's back. Okay.
Okay.
So we were talking a little bit about the ceramic coatings.
Okay.
The 3-year, 5-year, the 8-year. You guys have some updated formulas coming out, I believe, for your coatings.
Yeah, there are some of them. Yeah. All of them.
I didn't know if you saw the video that I did recently with the ceramic coating test, and the 3-year at 10 months, it looked like it was pretty much gone. What happens to a coating to make it do that? When we have these durability claims, and they are, I'm assuming, put together in a lab in a kind of safe environment. What makes coatings fail in an environment like that, where 10 months, not even 3 years, not topped? What do you think went wrong?
Nothing went wrong, in the sense that you didn't do anything wrong, and the coating is still there. What it's lost is its hydrophobics. Okay. And as detailers, we focus on the hydrophobics, and when the hydrophobics are gone, we assume that the coating is not doing anything anymore.
Well, that's why we really want it.
Yeah. Well, no, that's why you want it as a detailer. That's not why the consumer wants it, technically speaking. Yeah.
No. Agree to disagree, but okay.
Yeah, but when your panel is dry, is it as glossy as the rest?
Yeah, it doesn't look any different.
Right. It's lost the hydrophobics. It hasn't lost the protection. It hasn't lost the gloss. And the 3-year coating, the graphene component in it is the weak link in that particular product. The
Okay.
graphene is something that is great for helping reduce water spots. It's not going to
Okay.
prevent them 100%, but the graphene helps reduce water spots. And if you look at you also have the 5-year and the 8-year on that test panel on the driver's side of your Subaru. So
Mhm.
they're performing, very well. The ingredients between the 3-year, 5-year, and 8-year are the same. The proportions are different, but the ingredients are the same, except for the 3-year has the graphene added. And when the graphene starts to break down, it loses the hydrophobic aspect first, and that's what's happening to your 3-year.
So if I have the stack on the tail end of that panel and we have
Yeah.
the 8 and the 3 and that
Yeah.
still has its hydrophobic top layer,
Oh
would it
yeah.
be safe to say that that 3-year strengthened the 8-year, or maybe that the 3-year has kind of tapered off and that I'm seeing more of the 8-year now shining through?
No, the stack is a completely different chemistry. It's something that is really weird in how it works, but we couldn't put those two together in the bottle and have it work. But by doing the stack, so you put the 8-year on first, you wait the new type 2 coatings that's 1 to 8 hours instead of 2 to 8 hours, but you wait that 1 to 8 hours and then you apply the 3-year into, not on top of. So if you're to do it the next day, then you're just putting one coating on top of the other. If you were
Okay.
to do it right away, the 3-year, the solvents in it would reliquefy the other ones and you're just wasting your time there too. But in that 1 to 8 hour window, you have that opportunity to combine the two on the surface. So the 8-year has bonded to the paint, but the surface of it is still a little bit open, a little bit, it can be played with. And that's when that 3-year goes into the 8-year. It's not sitting on top of it. And we're actually creating a different structure. And that structure is more hydrophobic, as you've seen, more durable. It has advantages. The disadvantage for me as a professional detailer is I have to do two things.
Mhm.
So, as a hobbyist, though, it is the way to go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the two-layer coating. If you could
No,
find a way to get the benefits of both of those, like, do you think that's ever a possibility to figure
C6
out that?
Hydro,
Yeah.
C6 Hydro is that in the sense that the refined detonated nanodiamonds in the C6 does what we are trying to do with the stack.
Okay.
Basically
So
keeping it together, keeping all the molecules together a little tighter.
okay.
Yep.
So I had asked Flint to clarify his question, and he did. He said to ask, how does the development process work for products and the companies behind them?
Okay. So every company is different. For us at DIY, I'm the one that's responsible for a lot of the R&D process, and then we have testers, et cetera, et cetera. If you look at the House of Rags, the Detail Co line, that's Eddie and Jamie share that responsibility. Nick is not one to do product development. Nick, once we're sure the product is where we want it to be, then Nick gets to try it and goes, "Oh, okay, I'm good." Uh,
Nick needs to do the carpet thing, though. He's been saying it for years that he's going to create a carpet cleaner. Ooh,
uh,
maybe that was the green. No, that wouldn't do it.
I
That'd be a
so
no.
I'm working the carpet cleaner is close. So basically, I do the preliminary development R&D and all that, and then Nick puts his final stamp on it. We'll put it that way.
I'd be
Uh,
happy to test that for you, by the way.
Yeah.
You can
So
send me some.
Nick knows what he wants. He doesn't know how to obtain it. And he doesn't know how to explain it to the chemists. So chemists, if you tell them to make a green liquid, we'll use a green liquid as an example. You tell them to make a green liquid, 8 different chemists will make 8 different shades of green because you didn't tell them how dark green you wanted it and what shade of green you wanted that green liquid. But if you're able to communicate to the chemist exactly what you want, then they can do it. So when I'm working with chemists, I have this long form that we fill out that, first of all, when we're starting to develop a product, that's okay, this is what we want out of the product. These are all the steps. These are all the characteristics that we want physically. These are all the characteristics that we want it to work with. So how it works. And then this is the result that we're looking for. That gives the chemist a lot of cues. If you say to the chemist, you mentioned Griot's 3-in-1. If you say to the chemist, I want the same thing as Griot's 3-in-1, they'll come up with something close. And then you have to go back and tweak it and say, okay, 3-in-1 lasts 6 months, whereas the one you gave me only lasts a month. So we need to increase durability. But if we increase durability, that might take away some gloss, or it might take away another aspect. It's always a balancing act. And it's also working with the raw materials. So every chemist has different raw material suppliers they work with. And one chemist might have a great raw material supplier for surfactants. The other chemist might be the best chemist you'll ever see for ceramic coatings, but can't make a soap to save their lives. And that's why at DIY, we are actually working with 5 different chemists, because we know that the one making the polishes, that's his specialty. He's great at it. He's amazing. And, but for that guy, having him make a soap is not going to work out well.
Yeah.
The company that does all our surfactants, so the All Clean, the Incredible Suds, the Rinseless Wash, the Interior Clean Protect, don't ask them to make a polish. It's the worst polish you'll ever use. They just, no matter how we try to tweak it with them, how we try to explain it, what we want, it always comes out being crap. So a company that works with just one chemist never ends up with a very good product line, in the sense that they'll have some that they hit out of the park beautifully, and others that are like, yeah, it could have been better. But that is the downside of working with one single chemist. A lot of companies have multiple chemists, thankfully. So they'll be able to mix and match amongst their own staff, because that staff, you'll have one that, when they went to school, their professor was really, really good at one thing, and the other one that went to a different university was really good at another thing. And they take away from that and start moving in that direction. So we work with multiple chemists, and when we're starting a new product or trying to, going to the type 2 of a product, we'll put it out to a couple different chemists, because we know that, the guy that does our compounds can't make a soap to save his life. But when it comes to sealants and things like that, he's actually not that bad. And the one that does our soaps can't do a polish to save they can't, that company can't do a polish to save their lives. But tire dressings, things like that, they're, pretty good. So we'll give them, this is the criteria we want. Here's the criteria. Make me a product that fits these criteria. Then we test the product. Then we'll decide which one was closest to our original goal, and then tweak it with that one.
So whenever you have like a first version,
Yeah.
And you get some feedback from customers, like, do you ever have a V2 like right ready to develop, that you're like, we're just waiting for this one to kind of like, it'll impress them, but wait till they see V2? Or is it something that after you've sold it, you get feedback, then you make the tweaks to the formulation?
No, we're always working on the next one. Um,
So why
I'm
wouldn't I just wait till the next one?
Because that waiting process could be 2 weeks, could be 2 years, it could be 6 months. We don't know. It comes down to the like me, reaching out to the towel manufacturer, the the clay towel manufacturer. I had an aha moment one night and called them in the middle of the night, and this is how you need, this is how you're reworking the machine. The chemists are the same way. They might have worked on formula, tried 18 or 20 or 1051 different variances, and it takes that to get to that last aha moment. And sometimes they'll be working on a project. So we have a V2 of rinseless wash as an example. The type 2 rinseless wash comes out, people like it, great. But that chemist, if a month later had an aha moment, and if I put this in it, it's going to be so much better. And they send it to us. It's like, whoa, you're right, it is better. Then onto V3 or onto Type 3 we go. So that
Do you
is
have to
the
sell out of V2 before you go to V3, or is there ever a point where you're like, screw it, V3 is just that good, we'll take the loss?
we try to. So thankfully, it's thankfully and not thankfully for us, we do sell a lot of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and we've gotten over our out of stock problems pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but we know that by the time we have labels created, by the time we have this, that, and the other thing, the existing inventory will be almost gone anyways. Like last weekend, we had a sale on Incredible Suds Type 1 because Type 2 came out. And there's nothing wrong with Type 1. There's no reason to go out and, oh, I'm going to get rid of my bottle of Type 1 because Type 2 is out. No, it's not. It's a much better product, but at the same time, doesn't mean the original one was bad.
So I think he's expanding on this question,
Yeah.
Flint. I keep picking on him because he's asking good questions. Do you take what chemists give you to another company to produce, or are they the same company?
No,
Um,
so we have 5 different chemical suppliers because of their specialties, because of what they do. And no, when we start working with a chemist on a project, so like I said, we do our original, A/B comparison between two, we pick the best one, and then we finish the development process with that one.
I mean, wouldn't that be hard though? I mean, we've got so many brands and
Yeah.
products now that are so similar.
Mhm.
How do we as customers distinguish like which is best? Because, and this is where I kind of talked about, this question, brand loyalty versus
Yeah.
product performance, when there's so many, and I could say glass cleaners, interior cleaners, rinseless
Well,
washes, tire dressings, and they
whatever.
all like we're gonna nitpick over a scent, maybe a
Yeah.
color, maybe a little
Yeah.
bit more slickness, but all of these formulations, um, where are the chemists coming up with these? And do some chemists work with you and maybe with other companies that they're like just kind of duplicating that proprietary blend, but maybe tweaking it ever so slightly for another company? Like, how do you get recipes that
Uh,
are yours and that no one else can touch?
yeah. So we have faith in the companies we work with. Uh, there are contract chemists that's what they do, but they will never. It's like a code of honor for them. They won't do that. If company A has this formula, they're not going to say, "Well, hey, I've got this one from company A. Let me just change the color in it." No, because they're going by our criteria to develop. Now, a friend of mine, and you've met him as well, his name is Pan, the organizer,
Mm-hmm.
had made a mistake around this time last year to say his products were the best, period. Uh, I have to put that period in there. But, anyways, they were the best for him. And
Mm-hmm.
that, if he would have said, these are the best for me, instead of these are the best, period, you wouldn't have had that whole controversy, and now we can all laugh about it. But at the time, he was really stressed out about it. But the products that we have at DIY, I will never say they're the best. They are the best for me, yes, because I developed them for me. I developed them for what I want out of the product. And like Pan developed his products for what he wants. Eddie and Jamie developed Detail Co for what they want. And they're the best for that application, or they're the best for them. And I'll never tell someone that you have to get our product because another one won't work. There's a lot. We're very, very lucky in this industry that there are a myriad of great, excellent products. Yes, there's a few that, yeah, a little lower quality or whatever. But in general, we have a lot of really, really good products in the industry. And like you say, it comes down to which color do you like, which scent do you like, what company gives you the best value in what they do for you. As an example, our YouTube channel, we provide education. And one of the things, some of the comments that we get that I find that are really interesting is people, they'll literally watch a video and they'll comment, what brand of product should I buy? They don't even realize that we have a brand. Yeah. No, but they think like, if you've seen Two Guys Garage,
Yeah.
Say so those guys every week they're showing a different intake system or
Yeah.
suspension or whatever. They don't have a brand of products, and a lot of people think Nick and I, that's what we're doing. We're just different two guys teaching detailing, and that's it. Yeah.
Georgina
So
says, how does white labeling work then? Does someone approach an existing brand rather than their chemist then?
So white labeling or private labeling, however you want to look at it, the most prolific in our industry right now is B&B blending. And B&B blending, you can go to them and you can say they have a catalog. Actually, House of Rags is doing the same thing. So they have their
Door blending. Yep.
Thor blending. And you can do it two ways. You can say, these are the existing formulas that we'll put your label on. You choose the color, or the color is already established, the fragrance is already established. We're just putting your label on it. For the detailer that wants to give away products or sell a few products to their customers, that's great because low quantity, etc. The next one is a proprietary or a custom blend. We won't say a proprietary blend, but a custom blend saying, I want this product, but with this fragrance in this color and in this bottle. So that you have to buy the whole batch because they're making it in your color and in your fragrance. Then there is actual chemical development proprietary blends where the company has to come into an agreement and say, okay, we are going to pay for the development of this because someone has to pay for the development. And that someone, when you're paying for the development, let's say with Thor blending, you have the white label where we're just putting the label, we have the custom blend, and then we have the proprietary development. So with the proprietary development, Chelsea could say, okay, I want the best interior cleaner I've ever used, and I want it under the attention to details name. Then you go through the whole process with the chemist developing it, however long it takes. And every time a new formulation comes up, there's more money involved. But then at the end, that is your formula. They're not going to sell it to anyone else. They're not going to bottle it for anyone else. And any company that does that does white label custom blends and proprietary blends, they know that they would be out of business very, very quickly if they were to take someone's proprietary blend and give it to someone else. It's just, it can't be done. Or if they did it, they just wouldn't be around for very long.
Aaron asks a good question. At what point
Yeah.
should people just stop making brands to make a brand? The whole market seems flooded with products that just work. Where's the innovation?
Good question. And we'll use Pan as a scapegoat here.
We love you, Pan.
No, yeah. But Pan has been wanting his own brand for 5 or 6 years now. But his goal was to reach 1 million subscribers before he even thought of, or before he would even conceive of having his own brand. He reached that goal. And that's when he started working with Eddie and Jamie to develop his brand. But again, his brand is, it's his colorway, it's his design on the labels, it's his products. They're not white labeled, they're not custom blended, they're proprietary blends because he made it in his image. This is what I want out of a shampoo, or this is what I want out of a quick detailer, whatever the product is. So it's designed for him. And yes, there's a lot of brands. There always has been. There are brands that come and go. And thankfully, we're in a market that's growing. Detailing is becoming more and more popular, especially for the hobbyist detailers. And because of the popularity of the internet and all that, we can share information. Of course, in the 70s, we didn't have all these brands, or in the 80s, because we didn't have the internet. There's new car brands popping up every year too, not just new detailing brands. And so there's a lot of things that change in the industry. And pick a brand you like, run with it if you want, or just cross shop. And okay, I like this company's shampoo, I like this company's rinseless wash, I like this company's interior cleaner, whatever. It really doesn't matter. Now, if you want to support the people behind the brand, you're a fan of Pan the organizer, he's taught you so much in detailing that you feel debt of gratitude to him, then yeah, buy his products. But no one, or not no one, but we'll say reputable brands, no one comes out saying, I want to build a brand just because I want to make money. That does happen, unfortunately. But honestly, the first 5 years, you're not making a lot of money because all those development costs, if you're doing proprietary blends, if you're doing white labeling, it's easy, it's quick. And those are the ones that come and go. We see them coming, they splash on the market and then they fizzle away.
Fizzle out, yeah.
Yeah. But
And there's nothing wrong with that for
no,
those
no.
that want to, contribute something maybe for a few years and then
Yeah.
they shift gears.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of different ways of approaching this in the market. Again, just like detailing, there's no wrong way, there's no right way. But if there are some companies that say they have proprietary blends, and it's obvious they don't have proprietary blends. So that to me is something that isn't not something I condone. But on the other hand, you've got like the House of Rags, the Detail Co line, the Pan line, the DIY. People have said, "Oh, Pan spray polish and DIYs is the same," or people have accused us of being the same as 3D1. Put the three side by side together and actually try them, and you'll
Completely
see,
different.
yeah, they're completely different. Just because the SDS sheet says that they have three common
Just
ingredients,
because they spray.
yeah, with pans just because it sprays, or they have common ingredients. Yes, the ingredients that are listed on an SDS sheet are there to those are the safety. It's not all the ingredients in the product. They're the ingredients that the government goes, ooh, I have to be careful with this one.
So you couldn't look at an SDS and make a recipe?
Oh, heck no. No.
Just like, and you gave a good example when we were talking before the show started.
Yeah.
You could go to Pinterest, you can copy a recipe, but it doesn't tell you the order that those ingredients get put
No.
in because that dictates how the recipe kind of concocts itself.
Yeah.
Just because I get, I don't even know the names. Like, let's see, number one, number two, number three. You don't know
Yeah.
what order. You don't know like how long to
Yeah.
mix it.
No.
What temperature.
Yeah.
So,
Like I make a bacon pepper jelly, right? For
ooh, that
barbecues and stuff
sounds
like that.
good.
Yeah, it is good. But if I don't caramelize the onions and cook the bacon before, if I were to just put raw bacon and the onions and all the other stuff in the pan and start cooking it together, it's not going to end up being good. But if I cook my bacon and then caramelize the onions and the bacon fat and then cook the peppers separately and then mix it together and then put it in the crock pot, then I get I get the recipe. So the order in which things are put in, the temperature at which they're put in, the time that they're put in, et cetera, all makes a difference. So anyone can have the recipe. How they put the recipe together is a very different thing.
Super Nate has a good question. What do
Yeah.
you think caused the explosion of the detailing chemicals on the market? And I agree with him. Not even 6 years ago, when we first found out about detailing, it seems like there was only legacy brands. Now it is like every time you turn around, there's a new brand popping up. What do you think caused that?
Nothing's really changed. So a lot of those, the only thing that's changed is the internet
Social media. I was
and
gonna say.
and the awareness. So
Mhm.
it used to be that you'd have a local brand pop, or you'd have a brand pop up, and I'm talking in the 80s and the 90s. You'd have a brand pop up, but it would only be local because the guy
Car
would be
shows. Yep.
be blending and then selling at car shows, and then they might go national or they might pick up a distributor and then grow from there. But at the same time, a lot of those little brands came and went, and just like we're seeing today, a lot of these brands come and go. And we have another thing that's happening that we didn't have before, is the world is shrinking. So look at the House of Rags. You have Naziol from Turkey. You've got a bunch of British brands. You have the Korean brands that we would have never seen had it not been for the House of Rags, because they're over on their side of the world, and we have someone willing to take a risk and say, "Oh, I like this brand. Let me import it." And importing is not as easy as people think. There's a lot of costs involved. There's a lot of things involved. There's a reason our products are made in the USA. It's just simpler. Uh, for us, as opposed to, we could have a chemist in the UK do a great, a great chemical for us, but there's always those variables of importing and the time and all that. Whereas working with a US supplier is just easier. But what the House of Rags is doing by bringing in companies from all over the world. That's why we're seeing this explosion of brands. Those brands have been around for a long time, just no one ever heard of them.
Okay. So this next question, brace yourself.
Okay.
All right. We've had a couple people ask. We're
It's a
not going to
good
avoid the topic. Okay.
Yeah.
Conway asked, not sure if I missed it. You haven't. But if it hasn't been covered, would love to hear from Yvan about his take on the Dr. G video and all the accusations and nonsense. And you can say what you want or not. So
Yeah. So
we're not looking to go after anyone.
probably a good way of putting it.
Yes.
If there were a matter of something had been stolen, it would have come out a lot sooner, and there would have been legal action taken. There is no legal action against me, against Dan, against anyone at this time that I know of. And when we left the company, for myself, 1 hour before leaving the company, I was still full on board growing the company. Something happened. And for me, I've always said the day that it feels like I'm working is the day that I quit a job. And that's exactly what happened there. So, it was literally an hour before I was still growing the company. And then an hour later, Sylvie and I are driving away in the bus. So it's an unfortunate situation for them, having to resort to making a video like that. There are things that were said in the video that they're not lies, in the sense that Dr. G unfortunately had a medical condition, and that medical condition played with him a little bit. Saying that there was no other rinseless washes before 2019 on the market. It's very easy to find that there were a lot of rinseless washes before 2019 on the market, other than O&R. Saying that they've got 80% of the market on Amazon of rinseless washes. It's very easy for anyone to go on Amazon, check the numbers, and see that they don't necessarily have 80%. They might have 10%. So it's things like that you know, to me, it's sensationalism, and not someone, but the company seems to be grabbing at straws to try to keep their foothold that they had. So.
Well, and I think that's the great thing about the detailing industry, that
Yeah.
if you love supporting a brand and that brand has contributed something, like there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
There are people that have been loyal to Opticoat for years,
Yeah.
decades. I mean, it
Yeah.
was one of the biggest brands when I first started detailing, and they're still there. And
Yeah.
people who followed you or followed whatever brand, or Greg Masterson from Chemical Guys, and now they're
Yeah.
going, after that. That's the beauty. And I think for me, I get frustrated when I see such cutthroat competitiveness in
Yeah.
this industry,
There's no
when
need for it.
there's how many millions, if not billions of vehicles that get dirty on a daily basis. Like,
Yeah.
we're never going to be like, I'm never going to get to wash that car again. We're going to always try new products. We're always going to
Yeah.
have new cars. There's more than enough business for all of us.
Yeah.
When I see other brands starting to attack one another, and not saying that that's what's going
No.
on here at all, I just wish that there was more support for people in general, and not
Yeah.
throwing it behind necessarily a brand and then turning or bashing someone else because they like something else. And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's that whole saying, like, can we all just get along? I
100%.
wish there was just more support. Even if, you have a brand, if I were to have a brand or someone else, like, that's what I love about the guys over at the House of Rags, because I don't feel necessarily like there's a divisiveness. There's just
No.
support. There's just
Yeah.
love.
And I've been in the industry long enough. I know a lot of people behind a lot of the brands, and we all work together. We all, for the most part in this industry, everyone celebrates everyone else's win, because
Mhm.
we all know that our true competition is not each other. Just like detailers in a city, some detailers see the other detailers in their region as competitors. There's more than enough dirty cars to go around. And for a product manufacturer, there's more than enough enthusiasts and detailers to go around. And it's up to us to provide extra value for that consumer. And I get, congratulations from other companies when we reached 150,000, or we reached 100,000 subscribers, or things like that, or we come out with a new product and we sell out in a lot less time than we thought we ever would. or we sold out, which is not something we ever want to do with a product. But that being said, I get emails, I get phone calls from quote unquote competitors congratulating us on our success. And I'm the same way. When a competitor, what the consumers see as a competitor has a successful moment, I reach out and congratulate them because we're all in this together. Our real competition is complacency, people that don't wash their cars, and car washes. Those are our competitors. Other brands are not our competitors. They never have been, they never will be, because the consumer ultimately decides what brand is giving them the best value for their money. And value doesn't mean low cost. Value can come in the form of education. It can come in the way of, you know, like Nick and Kelly from Young Cars. They're just great people. So of course we
And
want to
they have a
sell.
cult-like following right now.
Yeah, but but we want to celebrate their win. We want to see them succeed. I want to see other brands succeed. That is the nature of this industry. And the more brands that succeed brings more awareness to detailing, brings more awareness to driving clean cars and having fun cleaning your car. And that just grows the industry for everyone. A rising tide lifts all boats. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what it is. And yes, there are a couple brands out there that have a very negative outlook on other brands. They see other brands as competitors. And ultimately, they're hurting themselves in doing that because instead of forming alliances, they're burning bridges. And when you burn bridges, it takes a long time to rebuild that bridge, and sometimes it never gets built back up.
Okay. We
Yeah.
got that heavy one out. All right. We have
Yeah.
been like bombarded with questions.
Okay.
We have almost 200 people watching live, which is one of my biggest like live views. So, hi, mom. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're watching. She's probably not, but just in case, I hope you're having
Yeah.
a good day. We're going to answer some of the questions that you guys have submitted. And some of these are from like the earlier topics. So, we'll
Yeah.
kind of fill it in. Uh,
And at the same time, I need to remind you that your daughter is waiting for you.
I know. That's why
Yeah.
we're going to go
Yeah.
quickly. This is
Yeah.
like a rapid fire.
Okay.
My
Go
daughter
for it.
has picture day tomorrow and I have to help her pick out her outfit. So
Yeah.
I can't be too long. Anyways, ETA on the green stuff.
October.
Okay. Like a date. Are we going to have like a big premiere video?
Oh, yes. We're going to have a premiere video. Don't worry.
Okay.
We always do that. You know that.
I'm curious to know what it's going to smell like. Okay, cool. Can the polysynthetic decontamination towel create micro marring? If so, what would be a normal cost for that?
Yes, it can cause improper lubrication or too much pressure.
Okay. All right, we already answered this one. Is the app critical for the merging effect to happen with the 8 and the 3 stack?
No, but the app makes any coating better.
Okay. JFarm13, is there an issue with longevity of Hydrolite? Almost all the users on YouTube that have used it have had it fall off in 6 months or less on areas. And JFarm, mine has not. At a year,
Yeah,
it's holding up great.
yeah,
Untopped.
right. So it comes down to your environment. How do you wash the car? How was it prepped? Et cetera, et cetera. And what's the substrate? Mike G is an example. His whole car is performing beautifully except for one part of the car. Is it the coating that's the problem, or is it that part?
I hate
If
that
it,
part of the car.
yeah, no, but it's the rear spoiler on his car that for some reason the coating is dyed. The rest of the car is fine. So is it that one part that he might have skipped a prep process,
Mm,
or one great example of that on Sylvie's Jeep, the red Jeep that we had. There was one spot on the door that had no hydrophobics whatsoever. We went back and looked at the video.
you missed a spot.
No, the coating was applied to the video. It wasn't leveled.
Oh, ooh,
Yeah.
interesting. And you didn't see the high spots or streaks?
No, because with the app, it basically self levels. So, uh, so there was no high spots or streaks, but that area looks beautiful, and it was just missed in the wipe off.
That's
So, or in the
interesting.
leveling. So the leveling process is an important part of the coating application.
Can you ever level too aggressively? Like is like because okay, for a couple of the coatings that I've been working with, they're grabbier.
Yeah.
And I have found that when I use my softbox light and I will go in and I'll do my normal, like leveling 2
Yep.
towels, even sometimes 3 towels, and I'll be like, "It looks great." And I shine my light on it and I see like streaks, not high spots, but like just
Yeah.
shadows where I needed to buff it more aggressively.
Right.
Like, can you ever buff too hard or level too aggressively with a coating that you remove it?
No, but what you're seeing there is what I've termed phantom high spots, and that is from
I
applying too
like that.
much coating.
Too much coating.
Yeah. So if a coating is applied too thick, it forms a skin on the outside. So you've leveled it, you've got that skin there, but you put too much on. And when you put too much on, what happens is the solvents are still trapped under that skin and they eventually make their way out. And those are the phantom high spots. And people that cross hatch typically put or use microfiber applicators typically put too much product on.
So that's why you do a semicircle moon, and that's why you use a foam applicator. And that's why when you were here,
Yeah.
you said all you need to worry about is just getting it on the paint. You don't have
Yeah.
to go heavy. Because there are times that like I felt like I would go too thin and then I would have some issues, but I'm gonna play around with that. Because
Yeah.
maybe I have been going too heavy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
Again, oh, it's challenging me. I've been
too
making me
much is as bad as not enough.
too
And sometimes it's
much.
worse. Yeah.
Okay. James wants to know, be honest. We'll know if you're lying. Have you ceramic coated your mustache?
I've never ceramic coated my mustache
That
and
would be
never will
weird.
either.
A little
Yeah.
crunchy. I don't think Sylvie would like that when you kiss her.
No,
All
no. Keep it nice and soft.
right. Steve wants to know, is there anything a detailer can do to determine if a coating is still present when the hydrophobics have worn off? That's a good question.
No. And a good coating, the only way to remove it is through abrasive. So unless you've polished the car, the coating is still there. And a lot of times, even if you've polished, you have to remove 2 to 3 microns in order to get past the coating. Because the coating, a good coating doesn't sit on the paint, it goes into the paint. And that depth that it creates, that we see as the depth in the gloss, is actually filling all those micropores on the surface.
Can you answer me this?
Yep.
So on vehicles that have been coated, let's say 2, 3 years,
Yep.
I notice that the paint loses its dullness. Like when I polish the coating off, the paint where the coating has been removed looks better.
Yeah.
Why is that? If coatings are supposed to be UV, offer some UV protection and just help keep the clear coat looking better. Why does it look better sometimes after removing an old coating?
Because you've leveled the surface. Anytime you polish, it's going to look better. And what you've done, as an example, if you've ever had that, you mentioned your husband's black Chevy, right?
Mm.
It's been polished, and you look at
The
it,
bane of
breathe,
my
yeah,
existence, yes.
breathe on it wrong, and it's going to look horrible. A vehicle like that, the last ditch effort is to coat it, let it sit for a week, and polish it again. Because
Okay.
now you're not polishing the paint, you're polishing the coating. And when you're polishing that coating, you've got a harder surface than the paint underneath it. You're not polishing to remove the coating. In that case, you're polishing just to enhance that last surface finish. And in the case of your husband's truck, when you eventually do repolish it, you're going to find that same thing, that it's going to be easier to work with than when you originally did it, because you're not working with that soft paint. You're working with that layer of coating that's built up or built into that top level of the paint.
Will you guys ever come out with a product similar? I'm not saying copying, but similar to Optimum Hyper Polish, because that is the only product that I have found that works perfect on black Chevy paint without marring. Because even the gold standard polish, sometimes when I use it, even if I use the red waffle pad, it'll leave like little ticks in the paint.
So the little ticks in the paint, if you're using the DA, you need to go to a harder
Mm.
pad.
Okay. Okay.
The red pad is too soft. On a soft paint, you
You
need to
said
go
that
to a,
before.
yeah,
You
on a
said that
soft
before.
paint.
When you have soft paint, sometimes you need a harder pad, which scares me because then I'm like, I'm doing a 3-step now.
Yeah.
Like, so would you say the gold waffle pad then? Try
Yep.
that on black. Oh, I'm gonna try it. We're gonna
Yeah.
see.
With the DA. Now, if you're going with the rotary, the softest pad you can get. With the DA, because of that oscillating movement, because of that movement, a soft pad has more elasticity to it, and basically it stretches to the end of the pad. The backing plate's going this way. The pad's going the same way as the backing plate. Then all of a sudden, the backing plate decides to change direction, but the pad is still going in this direction. It stretches the maximum elasticity of that pad that will allow and snaps back and then starts following the backing plate. When it does that, that's where you're getting those little tick marks.
Okay. Holy cow. I literally was in like my starred comments and I look up and we had like over 60 comments that I'm just trying
Okay,
to
so
get
one
caught up.
one word answers is what you're saying. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. A lot more questions. Okay. Tanner wants to know on average, what does it cost to fully develop a product completely from the ground up, building exactly what you want?
Anywhere from 50 to $200,000.
What was the most expensive product that you developed?
Coatings.
Was it C6? I
Yeah,
mean, it's diamonds.
yeah, but
Like
yeah,
diamonds
definitely,
inside.
yeah.
Holy cow. Like when you buy those raw materials and you have to write that check, are you just like,
Developing a brand from ground up is not not something for the weak of pocketbook. We'll put it that way. We need
yeah,
investors. It's not DIY is not something that Nick and I could have done from the beginning. I've been involved with DIY in the beginning. We brought Nick on, once all the products were developed, but the development process is long and expensive.
is it safe to use your clay towel on PPF?
Yes.
Again, practice or technique.
Yeah.
I actually have a video coming out soon where I demonstrated that. A full like a Tesla, which they have soft paint, but it was a full PPF that we applied a ceramic coating and we had to do a clay towel.
Yeah.
It did mar, but we could polish it. So
Yeah. Before we go further, I'd like to say one thing. If we haven't answered your question, don't stress about it. Go into the comments, not the chat, and put it in the comments. I will go back and answer all the questions.
you're awesome like that. Because of course he is trying to be mindful for Mackenzie. What DIY product do I use to clean my wheels and tires? And you actually, that was one of the controversial statements that
All
you
clean.
said
Yeah.
that we don't need a dedicated tire and wheel cleaner,
The dirt is the same on both of them.
but the
So
surfaces are different. Like, would you
okay.
use the same cleaner for nasty, like clear coated wheels that have rust and stuff and black matte wheels?
The same cleaner, yes. The technique will change.
How would,
And so on those nasty wheels that have rust, you're going to be adding some iron remover at the same time. But I'm not putting the iron remover on the tires, obviously, because we don't have. You actually do have iron contamination on your tires because the iron contamination goes there, but the rubber sheds it. The tires are actually a lot easier to clean than the wheels are, and they don't need all those aggressive products.
can we like clean tires too aggressively? Like, are
Yes.
we damaging the
Yep.
actual tire by removing all of the like cleaning till we have white foam? Because that is
Yeah.
something that people always like clean till you have white foam. And I'm like, on these Jeep tires, I've gone 5 times around and they're still kind of murky. Like,
Yeah. And definitely, you are damaging the tires when you're doing that.
okay, I'm getting better.
Yeah.
I'm not chasing the white foam as much. I
Right.
sometimes will just still do 2 rounds because I've had some that I'll clean it and they look worse after I've cleaned them. What
Yeah.
causes that? Like, why do some tires look worse after cleaning?
That's the antioxidant that you're bringing to the surface.
So I did that.
Anti-ozonate, sorry. Yeah.
Will DIY ever sell bucket stickers and stickers for press on labels? And will you ever do a clear bucket?
So the clear buckets that we use in the filming, no, we won't sell buckets like that because they break. Um, you know, we'll do a session of filming where we're doing 10 days of 6 videos a day. And at the end of it, sometimes the bucket has to go in the garbage because they're not chemically resistant. They're food storage buckets. So the perfectly clear buckets are not durable. They look really good on video, but just get a Home Depot bucket or a Lowe's bucket or whatever. They work.
I'm gonna
Buckets,
pitch another brand to you though. Armor
the
Detail
Yeti.
Supply. No, not the Yeti. Armor
Yeah,
Detail Supply does have a clear bucket.
yeah,
I think it's like 30 some dollars, which is cheap or cheaper. I know
yeah,
it's a bucket. I'm like, am I really spending that much on a bucket?
yeah.
But it does look cool in videos. But they are a little thicker and they're not necessarily food grade.
If you look at the bottom, it probably says choice on it.
Oh,
The ma-
I'm gonna
the
do
manu-
that.
the manufacturer of the bucket,
I do
and
have to be very careful though, because it does feel more thin than the 5 gallon ones.
they're actually they actually like the buckets we use are very thick. It's just the chemicals
Okay.
eventually break down the PET. So it's just not it's not a plastic that's conducive. As much as everyone doesn't like this company, chemical guys, their semi-clear buckets, that they use LDPE. So LDPE is more resistant to impacts and more resistant to chemicals.
David asks, what's the status on the pad washer?
Legal limbo. And
Okay.
until another company decides that they don't want to go after us because they think we're infringing on their patent, we have to continue on.
Have you seen Steve Pearson's pad washer?
That is beautiful.
Could you
Now,
just like bring him on board and then do his? I'm sure there's no
well,
legal issues with PVC pipe.
yeah, no. So if you go into Steve's video, one of the comments is from DIY Detail from me, and explaining just a few little modifications to his that I've seen other people, they took that and went with it using 3 pipes instead of 1. That's the only thing. So you're spreading the force a little better, cleans a little better, and you have more support, and you're not tilting the pad, so you're not spraying water everywhere.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well,
Steve's idea is that video got a lot of views for a reason, because it's a really, really good idea. And Steve's a great presenter anyways.
I'm actually going to have him on the show in a couple of weeks, and I'm
Oh,
looking
good.
forward to it. He is an engineer and a
Yeah.
brilliant guy and just a sweetheart. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited to get to hang out with him.
So you were mentioning companies before.
What's that?
You were mentioning companies before supporting or going against each other. That's exactly what you're doing now. The community of YouTubers that support each other is much bigger than the community of YouTubers that point fingers at each other.
Yeah.
And we celebrate each other's successes. And that to me is an important part of what we're doing here.
Well, and I think that's kind of the perfect way to end the podcast episode. I don't know about you guys. We did have a few questions. Ivan and Sylvie, I'm sure you guys are going to hop in there and answer them for you guys.
Right. So the chat, we won't, but if you have a question that hasn't been answered, go into the comments, not the chat, and we'll go in and answer them all. Not
all right. And we're going to be staying tuned for the green liquid in October.
Yes.
Whoever guessed the right product. And let's do that in the actual comment section, not out in the live chat. So if you guys, maybe I will contact Ivan once the green liquid is released, and whoever picked the right product, I'll pay for it and send it to them. So we'll do a giveaway, but it's going to be a future one. You got to hang tight. You got to subscribe, hit the notify bell, stay tuned, follow Ivan. This is going to be a long-winded detail.
Well,
if you really want to know.
The green liquid is coming to life in October.
Yep. If you want to know, stay tuned. And then maybe you win a bottle of the green liquid. So
yeah. And I just gave a hint there, by the way. So
I'm good. Oh, my AD. I wasn't listening. I'm going to go back. Well, this was a blast to hang out with you. Thank you for sharing your expertise, your knowledge, even going into some maybe uncomfortable situations. But hopefully you guys have learned something, have been challenged. And I think that's what you're great at, Ivan, is just giving us something to think about and making us grow as people and as detailers. So thank you. I appreciate it. Sylvie, thanks for helping him with the internet. You kept him on track.
Yeah, exactly.
We did it, guys.
Yes, the first person to interview Sylvie will be you. So yes.
We're going to try to make it happen at SEMA, if not before then. But I love it. Sylvie, your English is fantastic, so don't worry about that. But all right, guys. Well, you have a wonderful night. I'm going to go help Mackenzie pick out some clothes. But make sure you tune in next week because we're going to have Tim Coates from Ethos.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions about Ethos products, make sure you tune in. But we're going to be doing 7 p.m. during school because it's just a lot easier. But Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here at the House of Rags. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Ivan and Sylvie. We'll see you on the tube.
Yep.
All right, guys. Have a good night. If you guys have watched this podcast episode all the way through to the end, thank you so much for watching. If you like the podcast, make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you really like the podcast, make sure you subscribe and hit that notify bell so that way you don't miss out on any of our future podcast episodes. If you're listening on any of our podcast streaming platforms, make sure you leave us a review and let us know what more you want to hear of in the future. So that way we can make sure that we bring on the guests and discuss the content that you guys want to hear. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And we'll see you next Wednesday right here at the House of Rags YouTube channel. Have a great night.